Ooh, when she was playing that song, I wanted to dance, then I remembered I had my clothes on. Can't. Somehow it's just not the same still. Whew. My name's Nancy Burkhalter, and I'm an alcoholic. Because of a loving God and the steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, people like you, I've been sober since November the 7th, 1981. And it's a great day to be sober. Whoa. Man, it's a great day to be sober. Hey, thank you. Hey, Lee, thank you not only for being here, doing what you do right here. Thank you for being Lee, God's favorite Lee. When to do the work, you are willing to do the work that God calls you to do, and I thank you for that. And I am one of those people who I've actually met some people that what he does, that's their meetings. I met a gentleman that lives in places I don't know how or if I could stay sober. But he comes to the States once a year and he collects up these CDs and stuff. And of course that could be different today. He may have a pocket of enthusiasm today. But thank you for that. Thank you. You visit those tables, please. Visit those tables. And thank you for the committee. You know, I'm talking about 6 and 7. I got to tell you, think about how many 6 and 7s they have to do right after that committee meeting. I mean, every time you go, 4th through, yeah. So, I've been on one. They let me be on one for a little while. And anyway, thank you. Not going there, actually. But anyway, that kind of commitment. Boy, I certainly didn't know about that kind of commitment. In fact, when I first got sober, and trust me, just got sober, nothing else was happening. But they have places where you sign up for things. Got any new people here? First year, and within your first year, whatever? I just wanted to know who was on cleanup. Okay. Anyway, let me just give you a little piece of advice. When they have that poster up there and they want you to bring stuff for the potluck or whatever, if you sign it, they want you to do it. They want you to actually come and do that. It looks good to sign up, but they get all bent when you don't show up. So, but I can't thank you enough for my life. Can't thank you enough for my life. And the reason I picked that reading, I read it every year at my birthday. That's what I read. And let me tell you, it talks about, I'm going to go back through it. It talks about, in my sobriety, my life being rich and meaningful, right? Oh, and I have my share of problems, heartaches, and disappointments, which is life. It says, by the way, did not take away from the richness and the meaningfulness of my life. For you new people, that's a promise. Also known a great deal of joy and inner peace, even when I had those problems, heartaches, and disappointments. Even during life on life's terms, when I'm with you. I have a wealth of friends, like being here today with 500 of my closest friends, right? Yeah. Unusual quality of fellowship, not unlike the one I chased. And people talk whether it was chased it with the white liquid, with the behavior over and over, whatever. With what I chased, those before didn't meet the requirements of the next part. For to these people I am related. First, by mutual pain and despair, and because they don't leave us on the first step. Later, through mutual objectives, working these steps like my life depends on it. Because it still does. I've had some new hope since getting here yesterday. I've had some new hope, stuff going on at home that I'm glad, God's even glad I'm out of town. You know, I don't know where that came from, but anyway, God's kind of glad that, you know, I'm not in Texas, okay? Because He's got some things to work out for us back there, and apparently doesn't need me. So, yeah. But first, through mutual objectives that work in these steps, like my life depends on it. Because I have gotten some new hope since I arrived yesterday. Working together, sharing mutual trust, understanding, and love, without strings, without obligation, we acquire relationships that are unique and priceless. No more aloneness. Awful ache so deep in the heart of every alcoholic that nothing could ever reach. Not even that. Right now in your head. Not even that. Not the alcohol, not the one more person, not even that couldn't even reach. Gone and need not return. And I have to add, and if I stay in the middle of what we're doing right here, it doesn't have to. It doesn't have to return. Got to stay in the middle. A sense of belonging, of being wanted and needed and loved. No strings, no obligation. Never been there before. I'd never been there before. In return for a bottle, we've been given the keys to the kingdom. Now, you know, it talks about that in the past tense. You know, this is what's happened, right? Well, if you're new, and if you've been here a long time, still happening. Still happening. Right here, right now. And there's no place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be. Wow. You know, another thank you, I'd like to thank the speakers. In fact, I'd like to thank you so much for raising the bar quite as high as it is right this second. Okay. It doesn't bother me. I'm smarter than they are. Had to get that in. You know, I have this clock. I bought it at Walmart yesterday. I don't use it, but the newcomers always feel a little more secure that they're going to. So, since I only started a minute ago and he said I had till dinner, you know, Tammy, whoa. I got to admit to my innermost self. You know, first of all, let me tell you about the God filter. You don't really have to worry if they tell you you're going to be up here. Sometimes it is kind of, because there's a God filter, and God's filter works every time. So if you even quote them, the speaker, they may not have said that. Somebody said, I was so good to hear about your sister. I do not have a sister. The work you did with your... Don't have a sister. But boy, I've done some work. You know, God's work got done because of good sponsorship. And so, the God filter. And I heard some things that's like that. Innermost self. It doesn't matter who I tell, even today, what I tell about this, about me being alcoholic. But boy, inside here, to my innermost self, it needs to be clean for me. because then otherwise I can't live with you. And I don't want to ever be without you. Okay? And then that gift of desperation, that turning point that can come from a precious child's touch that you'd had many times, but then see what was joined by the divine appointment. God's divine appointment in that touch brought you to us. And so, April reminded me today. I remembered every second of it. But April and they invited me to Miami a long time ago, and they were my hostesses, and they were so kind to me. And then I get to see that side. I got to see that April yesterday. Yeah. That reminded me, boy, that song, I Did It My Way, got old finally. People got tired of it long before you did, honey. So, but that, and to go, I can't not know. And if you move, you're there when you get there. When all the boxes are being unpacked. If you're not doing something different, you're going to end up in the same spot. Wow. Deborah. She talked about partying on weekends. There's 4 more days in the week. You're different if you just had to do the weekend. So, but I got to tell you now, I got the Almond bug too. But anyway, but you said this. You said, well, I saw what he was doing, but I didn't see. We understand that in here. I saw, but I didn't see. Man, that hit, because today, there's some things I may be looking at, but I'm not seeing them. And that's okay, because I just said it out loud, and now I got to call my sponsor. I got to say now. I heard this. I do have to just shout out. Seeing some people I didn't know I was going to get to see. Friends. Anyway, thank you. I thought about buying her a T-shirt that said, "Give me a minute. I need to overthink this." But it probably doesn't apply as much anymore, does it? Doesn't apply as much anymore. But boy, Deborah, whew. Yeah. You can't know until you know, but once you know, you can't not know. Ruined my day too. You can't. She told us all about that stuff over and over, and then you can't not know that. You saw it on that relationship, you saw it on that, and you can't not know because you can't. You cannot. But once you know, you can't not know. And I tell you what, if nothing changes, nothing changes. If you don't start digging down and getting some information that you can't even fathom is going to give you freedom down the road, that don't even try to talk to me about it yet. Don't read ahead. Thank you. Oh man. And the honor of doing a fifth step. The honor of hearing a fifth step. I went, did I say honor of doing one? Yeah. The honor of doing one. So, thank y'all. Thank you. So, in case you might be wondering if I'm alcoholic. Anybody there? No one sees. Okay. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. I grew up in alcoholism. It's not unique. You've heard about it already this weekend. And it's ugly. It's ugly. There's nothing kind about it. And there's something about God always puts it on my heart when I'm telling my story because, well, I didn't get it for a while, actually. I think I was sharing my story one time. I thought, why am I talking so much about growing up in alcoholism? Well, for me, as you will hear, I didn't know how much it influenced my drinking when I was not going to drink. That'll make sense, perhaps. But the truth is that my daddy was an alcoholic. He said he was an alcoholic. He just didn't seek recovery. My mother was not an Al-Anon. She was an alligator. Okay? You wouldn't have laughed if you'd been there. Okay, my daddy believed he was a hard worker. He did. He provided for us physically and financially. He thought if I go to work every day, I should be able to stop at the local beer joint and have a couple beers with my friends. And he believed he could. He believed he could. Because what he didn't know is if you're alcoholic, the phenomenon of craving is going to happen. Not sometimes and not maybe. But he didn't know that. I thought he was a pathetic, stupid loser and things I will not dishonor this podium that I said to and about him. Okay? It's pathetic. Pathetic loser. And my mother was an alligator. You know, they got big eyes. Well, you all really do know. Okay. Nothing wrong with the gator. I'm sorry, I'm in Georgia. Okay, anyway. But you know, they're snappy. You never know, and they can track you down. Right? That was my mother, because when my daddy's tires didn't come in, you know what I'm saying? His tires didn't come in the driveway at 5 o'clock. Her whole personality changed. Okay? Because you got to eat dinner, sit down and eat dinner at 5 o'clock. I can't do it today. Okay? Okay, so when he didn't come home, she'd go to the phone, start dialing. Ray Burkhalter there? Nope. Ray Burkhalter there? Nope. Now we know where he isn't. That's what they said. Doesn't get an alligator down, get in the car. So we're going to go get him where he isn't. And but it worked out pretty good because she'd track him down and send the kids in. Send the kids in to tell your daddy to come home. I don't want him. Number one, I don't want him to come home. And number two, I don't want to go in that smoky bar one more time. Now, I don't know that I am, at this point, really, it's funny, developing my behaviors and whatever, that I'm going to need a 6 and 7 step someday. Because I can't change them. How could I know that at this point that just came up, that I'm becoming somebody I don't want to be? But boy, I tell you, you look at that. You look at them. See what they're doing to me. Seemed like every day we did that, and we got Daddy home when he'd come. Daddy would finally come out in that parking lot, and my mother would say, I want you to ride home with your daddy. Because she knew a drunk picks up a drink and an untreated Al-Anon picks up a drunk. She knew he'd come home. It's ugly. And we'd get him there, and I'd say something, and I'd always forget. And she'd say, don't you talk to him. I go, let's review. We go get him where he isn't, bring him home so we can not talk to him, cannot wait to get married. Still trying, yeah. It wasn't every day, but boy, didn't it feel like that? Competing with alcoholism, competing with drinking. Some of you did that too. Well, but I tell you what, I discovered something, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old, and that's that I was intellectually superior. Smartest person I knew. Right? And a smart person would never fall into that trap. All I needed was out of town. But guess what? It's a family disease. The umbrella is alcoholism, and everybody in this room fits under it. Everybody fits under it, and I think, and so the deal is that when I left town, I went to college. Of course I did. Of course I did. I took me and the disease of alcoholism, and I was on my mama's team. I liked mama's team. Because when I got to, I don't have time to tell you a lot about it, but when I got to college, I punished people who drank. With a clear conscience, I thought if I could, I didn't want them to become stupid. There's no way they could be successful. And I punished in every way I knew how. I don't even know if these people were alcoholic, but I did that with a clear conscience. But I tell you what, I'm not drinking. People who drink are bad and they must be punished. That's what I learned, and I was good at it. I've got some good ones if you want to talk to me later. So I didn't drink. I didn't drink in junior high. God, hearing some of these stories, I wasn't sure I was an alcoholic. Not going to do that. I wish I could say then I didn't have any other alcoholic tendencies, behaviors, attitudes, opinions, out of absolute just despair and how can I get out of it? I don't have alcoholism today in my home, but I sure have it in my head. I always will. And so I didn't. Then I moved to. I decided I was going to be rich and famous, and if you're going to do that, I mean, like that's kind of an important goal. Don't major in education. It's kind of a glitch. And so, but I can remember when I graduated saying things like, I'm going to change the course of education in America. And you know what I just said? In this room, I'm not enough. This is what I'm talking about. I'm already in training myself, and I haven't picked up the liquid. I got to believe that to walk in the door for my first job. And I got good at looking good. It was, that desperation. There's one thing to think that you're intellectually superior and being intellectually superior. Apparently. Or the desperation of feeling that, or somebody's going to find out there's something you don't know. Desperation. And I was a good teacher. I was a good teacher. I know that that was the place God wanted me to be, in the classroom. I know that today. And I'm grateful for it. I don't have to regret that what I have. But I got to tell you, everything, you did not want to be my coworker. Can you kind of move over there? Because I got this. Yeah. I was terrified to not have the right answer, the best idea. I'm having a good time, can you tell, at this point in my life? Just that desperation. No relationships. I don't know how. I don't know what they look like. I'm not going to take that risk. So I'm keeping you at an arm's length, wondering why you won't come, why you won't be my friend, why no one will stay. But I hadn't taken a drink. And then I moved into these singles apartments in Houston, Texas, and about 5 swimming pools. I'm driving a new car, a beautiful apartment, driving a new car that my dad paid for, but don't forget he ruined my whole life. And I could not finish a sentence without that. And those people that I punished for 4 years came knocking on the door. And I'd open the door and they said, "Hey, do you know that there's parties going on every day here in these apartments?" It really was a party central. It should have been called that. And I said, "No, I would already call the police." Do you get where I'm coming from? Drinking is bad, and it isn't happening. I'm too smart, and now I got some money in my bank. It isn't happening. And these people say, "Well, we want a party." Where were these in the 70s? Because I know today they just wanted my apartment number. You know how you can't get in unless you say, "I'm from apartment 1224. That's my room here." Anyway, kind of wish I hadn't said that out loud. because they said we're going to party, and they said, you know, you just bring your own container or whatever. And I went. Then I said, so let's go party. In 1 second's time. It's very important for me to remember that, because I know there are people in here who have left and come back. Right? People here are wondering right now, am I really? Is it really that bad? And it could be about alcohol, the drink, or alcoholism. And I said, let's party. And let me tell you why it's so important to me. I'm the alcoholic who absolutely better be doing it all. I don't get to just go to meetings. I don't get to just study the literature at home. I don't get to not work with others. I don't get to all of them. Because, you know, when you want to say them all, you can't remember them. You know, think of all those tools. You know, studying that literature. I got to be doing them all. Because what if in 1 second's time I say, let's party? And I promise you with everything that I am, every fiber of my being, I don't think that I'm immune to that. Oh, but, you know, I'm pretty smart. Got a lot of degrees. I said that one time to one of my sponsors, and he said, you know what else has degrees? A rectal thermometer. Never found it necessary to say, I cannot believe you brought that memory into my... Okay, I'm going to try to behave, but anyway. And I said, let's party, and I drank that night. I didn't drink like they did. You know, they did things like pass out and go home with, like these people. They went home with people they did not know. I'm just saying. I tried everything I could, Diane. I tried everything I could to help. So, but that night I'd been drinking, I drank, and I didn't much care what they did. And they liked me better, apparently. But it got to be about 9, 10, maybe even 9, 10 o'clock. I said, I got to go because I'm going to work tomorrow. And I walked up those stairs in my apartment, and I went in and I looked in a mirror, and I said, girl, you even drink better than other people. It's not alcohol. The alcohol's not the problem. And I thought, I said, but my dad's not uneducated. I mean, he's uneducated. He's not as sophisticated as myself. He's not... That alcohol's not the problem. He is pathetic. I mean, because that's the only picture I have. I promise you, we didn't have dinner. I don't remember any other setting of drinking. And I thought, this is going to be all right. This is going to be all right. And it was. I like to say it like this. I said, you know, I've got rules and morals and values. I do. Apparently, my dad did not have. And I did not break that right up until I did. I don't even know if I saw it coming. I don't know. Drinking and driving, I cannot tell you the disdain and the hatred I had for that man. But I want you to know, if you're new, I got to tell you, whether it's drinking or driving now, but whatever, it wasn't so hard to do it the second time. Or the third time. I kept saying, I'm not going to do it anymore. I gave away. It's been said so well by every person who's been up here. I gave it away. I gave it away. I gave it away. Me. I gave it away. And I couldn't, but I promise you, and I'll move on. I want you to hear this just as emphatically as I could say it. I am clueless that somebody like me could be in trouble. I was so smart, had another degree. Oh, had another one? Oh, yeah. Clueless. I had no idea I was beginning to get in trouble. Let me tell you about my last drunk, because I do want to get to the good news that I get to talk about tonight. Oh, the good news. You all always seem to enjoy it more than I did. When I started drinking, and I did not have any idea that I was beginning to drink like my daddy. Because you talk about, I'm not going to drink, I drank, I'm not going to drink irresponsibly, I'm drinking alcoholically and irresponsibly, but I have a reason, and I have, the whole gamut of now, I think we're first in line to believe it. And then it doesn't become a lie anymore. Right, okay. So that's where I am. So anyway, I was in this bar in San Antonio, Texas. Some of you might have been to San Antonio, Texas, right? Okay, and so I discovered something that night, and that's when I've had enough to drink, but I had a lot to drink. I become quite the dancer. That's why I was kind of worried that what I might do when she started. I was like really good. I was out there, and the music stopped, and apparently I screamed, "I've got music in my soul!" And so they stopped the music because they wanted everybody to go off the dance floor, and I thought, surely not me, And if you feel this, and then you go over here and you do that, they mean you. And it was stupid. It was just crazy. I was out there dancing, and it was because these bodybuilder people had this big humongous trophy, and they were said they would perform, and so they, instead of watching me, they put these people out there. Well, okay. Now, that's what happened at this in San Antonio. Now I'm in Austin. It's 2 weeks later, right? I'm in Austin where I live in this beautiful home, landscape, 450 SL convertible, red convertible, Mercedes in the garage, and the custom van in the driveway, and I didn't own any of that, but it looked like I did. My Chevette was on the curb, and kind of paid rent to my partner. Anyway, and we were having a dinner party. Dinner parties are stressful. Everybody knows. And so at 10:30 that morning, I began to get smooth. I hated the word drunk. I began to get smooth about 10:30 in the morning, and apparently at 2:30 I didn't care who came to the dinner party. Okay? Well, apparently people did. Now, hear me, it was a dinner party. We'd invited people into her home to have dinner and go out on the patio where there was music, and it was a beautiful home. But I, unfortunately, had been getting smooth since 10:30, so apparently we had dinner, I don't know, because I decided to get in the hot tub. Mm-hmm. And it's not a good idea. And the same song that the bodybuilders used. I became a bodybuilder. Not in the hot tub. On the deck. Naked. And I bodybuilded and I had to be told the next day that I had done that. I said, well, probably pretty good. And this is the cruelest thing anybody's ever said to me. He said, well, you did bodybuild to the whole song. There just weren't any muscle groups involved. Okay, funny story, because it is a funny story, right? However, it was a dinner party and I humiliated people. Here's the part that sums it up, because it is. I've healed from that. Because, man, when you really get it, because it's crazy. It's a funny story. But, yeah, I humiliated people, and my behavior. So when I was told, I said, "You don't like it? Don't come to my house." See, that's where it had gotten. That's the spot I landed. It's not what I wanted to be. Probably, have you ever done this? You're saying it and you're hearing it and you don't want it to be true. Don't come. Well, guess what? So I'm clueless. Someone else saw that I was in trouble. Someone else. God's messenger came that day when apparently I just didn't have a better idea. I don't know. But I did get to you. I did get to you. Now, I kind of tease about it, but the truth is I didn't jump right in. Because when I went to I got dared. Somebody saved my profession probably because I was screaming outside somebody's place of work, and she threw me in the car and she said, "You have a problem with alcohol and there's a solution. There's an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting on North Lamar tomorrow night. I can go. I can pick you up. I cannot go at all." And I thought, I had to prove it. It was stupid. And I went there. I got really dressed up. I think I might have had a briefcase. I know I got there early. Thought I looked pretty cool. When you get your 1-year chip, they tell you what you look like. Anyway. But I tell you, I went from I was not alcoholic. I was not alcoholic, and I went there and I listened and I made fun. I don't want to take any more time. I made fun. In my head, thank God, I made fun and I judged and I went, "You poor people." And I found out you had a textbook, so even if I had felt like I needed to, I wouldn't need this. I wouldn't need to go back. I got this if I needed it. But why did I go? That was a Tuesday night, I believe. Why did I go on Saturday? And then the women's meeting the next week. The magic of Alcoholics Anonymous happened to me. And I kept going back, and I kept going back. And I'm so glad I kept going back to have that turning point on the side of a road when I said, "Me too." That's the other thing. Me too. Two of the most significant words in this program for me. Me too. I am alcoholic, and I walked back and I was an alcoholic and a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. Been going for, I don't even remember how long. And you could ask me to put up these chairs today because I don't have enough time on this earth to give back what you've given me. I don't have enough time. And so you told me that things didn't have to be that way. That if I did what I could point the people. You're not kidding. I met so many people, and I just look and I go, "I want that. I want that smile." Still, I didn't mean to like any of you. I didn't want to come back. I want that. I've been here a while. I want that. I still want that. And it's but I got to do what you do to get it and keep it. And then give it to you. Sometimes back to you. Sometimes you give it back to me. I don't want to miss it. It is something you will not want to miss. Right? So, how do I thank you enough for getting the opportunity to talk about the steps? The steps are the only thing that made an adult like me, a person like me, stop doing what I should never have done and start doing what I should. The only things. We are in discipline. This is it for me. To this day. To this day. And so the privilege of talking about the steps, and Jack Claytor, one of my gentle giants, said the steps well worked will walk you into the arms of God. Whew, believe it? Oh, I believe it. I believe it. Walk you into the arms of God. And I think about my experience just with 1 through 5 real quickly is that, People were praying for me to get the gift of desperation. Cheering for me to, because I'm still going, if y'all need anything, I didn't mention this, but I memorized the first 3 steps in my first meeting in case there was a question and answer period at the end of the meeting. Desperate. That's desperation, but nobody asked. So, to lost my train of thought. I was being so cute. But anyway, so working the steps in the first step. I'm glad that I got that gift of desperation. It sounds weird, doesn't it? Isn't that a little bit weird, gift of desperation? Got to be there. Why does all the literature promises us? And the reason I guess I'm going on and on about some of this stuff is I don't want to forget that maybe I've been sober a while. Maybe some of you are brand new. Some of you have been here a while. But there's still the gift of desperation I need in some areas that I can finally say, help. I don't want to forget that. That seems to be a thing for me this weekend that you've helped me with. I'll always be on a first step, apparently, but you don't leave me there. So my first step, thank God, when I said me too on the side of that road. And then you told me in that second step, I could not believe it. Is that, first of all, you weren't asking me to believe in anything. It says it right out of the 12 and 12. You're not asking me to believe in anything or even what to believe. You're telling me find something that's personal to me. Are you kidding me? Find my higher power. I choose to call God. Because I'm going to need that. I'm going to stand shoulder to shoulder with that. Because He keeps putting me shoulder to shoulder with you, which leads me back to shoulder with my God. And that cycle won't ever break if I can just stay in the middle of you. So, that personal relationship. So it wasn't so hard in that third step to turn my will and life over to it. It wasn't so hard. Some days. That is such a, and I think I got this from April too. Really, it really is like opening a door that you think is locked. Oh, really? No, they're serious when they say that. And, oh, really? Willingness is the key. Just show up. Just show up. And so I'm so glad that I believe on a daily basis. I say, I sure hope you're not busy today. And this weekend, I think I said it earlier today, and if I've already said it here, too bad. But is that it's good I'm out of town. Yeah, I said, because there's some stuff that needs to be worked out there so that I can be a part of the solution when I go home. Because I've been with you. Boy, in that 4-step, you just asked me to get in a room and tell the truth. I used to lie in my own diary. Nobody's going to read it. I just change it. And so, you told me to just tell the truth. Tell the truth. And we could not have heard it better. We could not have heard it better. Tell the truth. And can you just trust me one more line? If I got my sponsor told me to get on my knees, ask God to help me tell the truth. And to the best of my ability, I did that. And I do that. And with that, I am fact-finding. Because I want the freedom that I don't even know is in anybody's consciousness. In 5th step, I'd always wanted somebody to listen to me without judgment. Somebody that didn't say, yeah, it's not the way it happened. It didn't happen that way. Just listen to me. And boy, it could not have been said better. The honor of somebody looking you in the eyes, and you want, on some level, whether you know it or not, you want somebody, that other pair of eyes and ears to say, "This is what I heard," and I want you to know that. One of the most loving things is to put somebody's sobriety before their feelings. So I am. The fact that I get to continue to do 5th steps, because I will, And the fact that I get the honor of sitting across and knowing that God's grace is so much bigger than my ego that I can give that person that knowing that they are being heard without judgment. So, I think I said this I discovered, I don't know when the last time I did the steps at like this format. And something was happening when I was thinking about it. I said, God gave me this memory of when I got there. It might be a little hard to believe, but everything. They'd say, well, now in the first step, we're going to go, why? Could have finished my sentence. Why? When? Who said? Who's done it before? Or did they go to college? No, why? God, I had God just put that in my memory and just stay in the literature. To stay in the literature. Stay in the literature. I edited some things when I first got here. I did. Not been published. So my steps are 6 and 7. And 6 says we're entirely ready to have God remove these defects of character. Right? Well, where did I find those? Some people, because I know where your head went, and that was a test. No. I started finding them out in step 2, what doesn't work and what's working is not working, because that's called insane. I do an exercise with my sponsees. What's working? What's not working today? It's not the same, maybe. So I started getting that information really on how I acted, reacted. People talked about because of fear or whatever. So I already knew that I'm already getting it. That there's stuff that's got to go. It's got to go. And so anyway, but how do I know I'm ready? So how do I know I'm ready? Or is it entirely ready? Or entirely to have God remove all these defects of character? Or, that's what you do when you don't want to do it. And so, easy, he exclaimed. Good start is to answer these questions. It's already been told. Have we omitted anything? Because we're talking about the 4th and 5th steps. Have we omitted anything? I wish I hadn't asked. That feeling? Really? Is our work solid so far? Genius things that just get where you go. Are the stones properly in place? You don't have to imagine what that means. Literally. I don't care what are the stones. Think of wherever you go in your mind. Have we skimped on the cement put into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? My whole life it seems like I wanted to live on the surface. In relationships, just don't talk about much, and they won't leave as soon or something. I know it sounds silly. I just kind of wanted to be on the surface because I was terrified what was down deep. I didn't know that today, when I'm with you, I will dive down. First of all, you dive down in that water. Think about diving down. Well, you're going to come up. And when you get up and when you're with us, you realize these people have taught me how to swim. Wherever I come up, swim. So I got to tell you, but that's the way it always lives. So I'm going to answer those questions. Because it says now if I'm satisfied by that, when I look over those 5 proposals, and I'm satisfied, I go, I really don't know. My first one, think about the word lame and go back several other levels. Because the columns were measured out and yeah. But have I left anything out that I can think of? About that first one coming right off of that 4th and 5th step. But I got to tell you, I live in 6 and 7 a lot today where I can do that, kind of do a 10th step so that I can do my 6 and 7. Boy, isn't that cool? I don't know if I've ever thought of it like that. But think about, and so So then it says, okay, I really believe I can answer these questions, because then it says I can look at step 6. We can now look at step 6. That I know, and I'm already getting it. I'm already getting it. If I could have done better, I would have. It's been said already. If I could have just done that differently. I wish today, that ringing a bell you can't unring. But the only way I can stay in a position where it just doesn't happen and happen and happen, I can live with that. So if I'm not willing, clearly I'm not ready. If I've got one foot outside the door and one foot outside. So then with help, I can see, am I going to have to, if I'm not willing and I'm balking, that means the questions weren't answered the way I wanted them to be answered. And you know what? I'm volunteering to keep doing things that even I found objectionable. I'm volunteering for that. And I want you, it's one of those things where I can't thank you enough. Whoever coined the phrase, just ask to be willing to be willing. In the 12 of 12, it assures us that God will certainly forgive any shortcoming, but also gives a great reminder for someone like me that not all of my defects will be lifted like the obsession to drink. But sometimes I will have to be content with patient improvement. I understand that for you. I got to tell you, I can just see myself just having a fit. Just having a fit. Why? Because, I just woke up human. I do. And, I've watched myself kind of do the fit kind of thing, hopefully sometimes by myself, but I'm just where my brain is going, how could I have done that? How could I have done that? Which, by the way, means that I've just said, Nancy, need a little extra ego today? That's what I was saying. Somebody like me. So, I called my sponsor one time and I said, man, Dennis, I'm so disappointed in myself. He said, what? I said, well, I did blah. And I was just on me. Just on me. And he said, man, it sounds like you want to walk on water. And I went, he said, get them up. That's as close as you were ever going to get. It's my Alabama accent. Get them up. Get them up. Another reminder in the 12 and 12. Only step that can be worked with perfection is step 1. The other 11 state perfect ideals. And they are. They are perfect ideals. They are goals to be looked at and a measuring stick for our progress. A measuring stick. I am grateful that one of the things that I could look you in the eye and say today is that I absolutely know my sponsees see this. They see this. That is just a gift beyond, coming from what I told you who I was, what I brought AA. God, I cannot thank you enough for that. They see me they see this. I don't have any investment in that, that perfect example where I'm not here and you're here, whatever. So all the while, whether it be my first or my 100th, talks about the I will nevers. I will never. I will never. I'm not going to give up jealousy. If I give up jealousy, when you think, let's go over this jealousy thing. They're going to cheat. Now, that's awful to think that. In other words, if I give up jealousy so I don't have the death grip at a party, if you're my date, I need to go to the restaurant and go, okay. Let's go. Death grip. Because if you don't, they're going to cheat. You know what? And with no evidence whatsoever that you're putting on that other person. That I will never. There's a quote, the moment we say no, never, our minds close against the grace of God. Delay is dangerous and rebellion may be fatal. This is the exact point at which we abandon limited objectives and move towards God's will for us. What about that would I not want? Unless I am consumed into the ego that I may could see it, but I see it, but I don't see it. That's the only way. Why would I? So my experience with step 6 is that I used to hide behind words. You know, I'd say, well, first of all, I would have wanted to do the, stay on that surface, hide behind words. I'd say, well, I'm really being impatient. Well, what do you mean? I was just, well, I'm not being patient. And I'm whatever. Yeah. Don't get away with that. What does impatient look like today? Picture. I write down. Well, I'm looking for what I'm going to humbly ask. It's so funny. I had this memory when I was teaching. I taught public school. I taught kids, and then I got an opportunity to teach at the university level, and I was in this in class, and I thought might be different, than the elementary in this college. Didn't work out quite that way, but no. But anyway, I said, like communication, people, we got to stop hiding behind words. We really need to be specific, which I was learning from my program and wanted to pass on. So, like, what is communication? That's when you're really communicating. Yes, it is, precious. And so somebody else, well, when you communicate with someone else as they're communicating. I mean, it was just going down, whatever. And I said, I want to know what it looks like. And it's you experienced it, Tammy. You talked about it, where you see them go, oh, yeah. If you're going to be an educator, yeah. It means that I am actually conveying something to someone else with my voice, with my expression. It is giving, you know what I'm saying? Well, that was me. I had to say, when I'm going to say, God, I want you to take away my need, and everybody seems to use this when it's popping up, to go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oop, you have 16 in the 15 Lyle. 16, clearly 16, kind of 16 and a half if you count. It's a silly example, but the need. Jack Claytor again. You having trouble letting go of something or asking God to take it? Look for the need. Why did I even need to be counting? It doesn't have anything to do with his SpaghettiOs. It has to do with what's going on, Nancy. Who needs to be superior or whatever? Because you don't want to go home and not have an answer. And so I am so grateful today that, man, like I said, I don't know how many times I do it. If I'm talking about what's going on in my life right now, it would be on, and I discover it sometimes in the 3rd step prayer when I say, relieve me of the bondage of self. Well, I want to know that day. I always stop and go, lately too much, need to be right and need to explain. If I could just tell you, you wouldn't be mad at me. If I could just tell you. And so whatever it is, so what does that look like? When I want to call this person right now and I've got to tell them this thing and it's not mine to do. I just don't want them to be mad at me anymore. I can't believe this is coming up. I just don't want them to be mad at me anymore. I don't get to do it. I got to go to God in the 7th step and go, please take that need from me. Because underneath that, guess what it is? Control and that I'm right. And so that's my experience still with the 6-step, that I've got to do that. And I just can't hide behind words anymore. 2 of probably many promises from the 6-step. No unhappiness is too great to be overcome. That's 1. And we will become to learn tolerance, patience, and goodwill toward all men, even our enemies, for we see them as sick people. Amen. Amen. Why? So step 7 says, humbly ask Him to remove our shortcomings. Shortcomings, character defects. I wanted to discuss that for a while. Why would one... I don't remember when I got it, but I think I've already said this. I don't remember exactly when I got it, but I did that. Probably as a result of just absolutely being immersed in the literature with a sponsor. But I want you to know I did get it. That if I could have done better, I would have. And if I could have acted differently, I would have. But I mean now, if I could have fixed it, I would have. Neither of those are true. I can't. I can be in partnership with the God I found in the 2nd step, but I really got it, and I'm relieved about it on most days. That if I wish I could have been more tolerant. I wish, if I could just take that one back, right? So, now having done the 6th step and being completely clear with each 6th step that I'm doing, I am going to humbly ask God to remove. With as much humility as the grace of God has given me. One of my favorite definitions of humility from the 7th step is the ability to stand up with the willingness to kneel down. I love that. And but I can remove with each 6th step exactly what I'm going to humbly ask God to remove. I can move to the 7th step, which correlates with humility. It's got to be there. And as a sidebar, everybody thinks of humility in the 7th step, but sidebar, as it says right out of the 12 and 12, all 12 steps are trying to give us the gift of humility. Sometimes they're going to, squash the ego. Well, really, it's a gift of humility. Sometimes when you feel like, you get it. But all 12 steps have humility as a foundation principle. If I don't get it and maintain it, my sobriety could be in jeopardy. And remember, I was that one asking questions, but today I'm all in on that one. That in and of itself, you tell me I'm either backing up from my sobriety, you got my attention. And that's because of good sponsorship, Steps of Alcoholics Anonymous. Clearly. And I absolutely believe in what the 12 points at. 1, if I could remove my shortcoming character defects, I would have. 2, I must humbly ask God to do His work so that I can live in peace with myself and others, so that I can be assured that the grace of God can do for me what I cannot do for myself. What a promise. So my experience on the 7th step is that I do all my prayers on my knees, but also that let me just say, so again, after following the instructions right out of the big book, let me just go there first. I was looking over the first 5, answering the questions, knowing that I had identified exactly what I wanted God to remove from me, accepted that I could not make it happen. I said this prayer with my sponsor. I knew it would solidify my commitment to God regarding my readiness. That I knew somehow that there was something solid in that my desire to have God enter my heart in a way that it cannot be described. That feeling, I wish I could just describe. I can't describe it to you right now. I don't even know why I went there, but I want you to have it. That's a promise, I guess I was trying to get. If some of you may have not gotten to the 6th and 7th step yet. Oh, I want you to have that feeling in your heart and I'm glad I can't describe it. It says, my Creator, I am now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. I pray that you now remove from me every single defect of character that stands in the way of my usefulness to you and my fellows. Grant me strength as I go out from here to do your bidding. Now, I break down the 3rd step and I do this, my Creator, I'm now willing that you should have all of me, good and bad. What does that look like today, Nancy? What does that look like? Yeah, I'm glad that yes, these are the things, God, that I can look inside. I could praise you because today I was so kind thank you. I was so kind in a situation that I chose kindness. I chose kindness on those that didn't feel like being kind, right? That was good. Please help me know how to do that more. Good and bad. I sure am feeling it. I'm sure feeling like I need to be right today. That's where I am with that. If I'm describing that, and I do. I just want to be current because most of the time when I'm breaking down the prayers, they're not the same. The picture of my life, of my day, is not the same. I am now ready that you should take from me every single defect of character that stands in the way of my usefulness to you. That's why every morning, okay, I'm up. I read 86 through 88. I'm up. That's what I say on awakening. And I listen to those words. And then I read, this is my experience. I read God Calling. And then I read 24-hour book, which explains God Calling. Anyway, and I listen for what is it maybe that you want me to do today in that morning thing. What message am I getting from you? And whatever, you answer, the phone rings and you go, oh. She's nuts. Not feeling too good right now. Maybe I should answer the phone. Yeah. No matter who, no matter what, in all our affairs, even at AT&T. Yeah. Okay. Even my usefulness. Grant me strength. I got to tell you, and I don't know why it's coming up, but I'm going to do it. They tell me I'm pretty ill. I have MS and lung cancer, and I've known about the MS forever. And I got to tell you, I don't have this much energy. I promise you, I don't, except when I'm with you. So when I'm with you, and Lee will tell you, I'd be so honored to come buy the insurance. And people do. They buy the insurance, right? Whatever. Because I'm telling you, the energy I've had I got off the plane and I thought I was going to have to crawl to the baggage claim, right? And you get what I'm saying. And not now. It's like, where are we going now? And then I'm going to go upstairs. But you see, grant me strength as I go out from here. Because I will never once have to fulfill a commitment God's given me without His strength. Out of the big book. The 7th step is where we make the change in our attitude, which permits us, with humility, as our God, move out from ourselves towards others and towards God. Can't say it. You can't say it any better. 2 of probably many 7th step promises. The central fact of our lives today is the absolute certainty that our Creator has entered into our hearts and lives in a way which is indeed miraculous, and strength out of weakness. Strength out of weakness. Real quickly. If I was going to invite you all to, this is kind of my 4th through 7th. Well, I'm kind of known as the trash lady in the DFW. Not trashy. Trash lady in DFW, in Texas. If I were going to invite you all to lunch tomorrow in Texas, which I am not, we would have a lot of trash. You would. Yeah, it would be. I don't cook for people I love, so we're going to go to Dickie's barbecue, and I'm going to have it, and there's going to be a lot of trash. See, the 4th step for me is if I give Beth her bag, right, and Tammy and Deborah and all of y'all over here, Mari, and I know who they are. Anyway, and I say, could you put your trash in your trash? Because I either wanted to just concentrate on yours and not mine. And I'd ask you to do that. It's a 4th step. Put your trash in. And then I think the 5th step is taking the trash to the curb. Take it to the curb. Anybody else open it and go, not my turn? Because it's 12 steps out. Anyway, take it to the curb. Don't hold on. Don't wonder if you're, okay? Guess what 6th step is? Leave it at the curb. I have to picture myself going outside going, the trash truck's going, no. Leave it on the curb. And guess what? On Wednesday mornings, sometimes way too early, I hear that trash truck. And they've never knocked on my door and said, Miss Burkhalter, that's the trashiest trash we have ever seen. We are not taking it. Funny, isn't it? But guess what? God has never knocked on my heart. He's never knocked on my soul. He said, Nancy, that's too trashy. Never. I can't take that, Nancy. I can't take that. It's just too trashy. And right now I want to say, yeah, even that. Wherever you are, wherever I am, even that, the trash man cometh. Thank you.